Where do I even begin with this strange little thing I could start at the beginning? Back at SHOT Show 2022, when I first caught sight of a folded block of metal and polymer that didn't look like any gun I had ever seen. It sat on a display table like some futuristic gadget, angular and unassuming, yet it whispered the promise of something different. I knew right then that I had to follow it, even if it meant putting my name on a long, uncertain waiting list. 3 years later, after updates, delays, and plenty of second-guessing, the package finally arrived. Holding it in my hands for the first time felt like waiting for a child to be born. Except this one was louder, more mechanical, and not destined for college tuition bills. The sense of curiosity that started in a crowded convention hall hadn't gone away. It had only sharpened. This pistol is called the Ounce, but not because it weighs an ounce. The name comes from a well-worn proverb: an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That philosophy sets the stage for everything about this firearm. It is meant to be carried always, hidden easily, and used simply when needed. Folded. This pistol does not read as a firearm. If you squint, it looks less like a pistol and more like a stubborn power bank that refuses to charge your phone. The frame, barrel, and feeding mechanism collapse into a compact block that resembles a small electronic device rather than a traditional pistol. That denial of silhouette is the principal design choice: concealment by visual misdirection instead of merely scaling components down. The profile hides the muzzle and the trigger, allowing genuine pocket carry without the obvious cues that normally require a holster. Mechanically, the platform is built around two priorities: minimal user effort and layered passive safety. To meet both goals, the engineers avoided the common 22 LR blowback template and implemented a recoil-operated locked-breech cycle. In the firing sequence, the barrel and bolt travel together for the initial rearward movement before separating to extract and eject the spent case. That arrangement softens the felt impulse compared with simple blowback and reduces the risk of firing out of battery, which is an important safety and controllability benefit for a pocket-sized defensive tool. The feeding architecture is intentionally unconventional. Instead of a removable magazine, the pistol uses an integral top-mounted transporter with a ratchet feed. Rounds are dropped through a small hatch and advanced into the action by the transporter as the system cycles. The practical payoffs are tangible: no stiff magazine to seat under thumb pressure, simpler reloads for users with smaller hands, and a feed path that tolerates a range of commercial 22 loads when maintained properly. Loading through a hatch feels oddly like feeding a very picky piggy bank. Satisfying once you get the rhythm, less satisfying if you try to cram it. Deployment is engineered choreography rather than improvisation. Hinges, detents, and positive interlocks guide folding and unfolding until components index solidly into place. Unfolding it is less a tactical flourish and more like folding a tiny lawn chair. Slow, deliberate, and rewarding when the parts click together. Opening the unit aligns internal components and, in normal operation, chambers around. A single learned motion that readies the pistol without multiple manual manipulations. Crucially, the folded geometry intentionally misaligns the firing geometry so the firing pin cannot strike a chambered cartridge. That passive mechanical barrier provides a layer of safety carried folded. The pistol resists ignition from drops or incidental presses. Case management is practical and conservative. Spent cases are routed downward into the hollow grip and exit through a dedicated port. That predictable path keeps hot brass away from the shooter's face and suits pocket carry. Designers also included a simple manual clearing shelf inside the grip, so a stuck case can be nudged free without tools. Those modest, Pragmatic touches are the sort of details range technicians and experienced shooters appreciate when they need simple, reliable fixes. Little things that keep you on the line instead of on YouTube apologizing for your stoppage. Ergonomics reflect deliberate compromise. The hollow grip necessary for folding introduces a modest flex under a firm hold. The pistol sacrifices some tactile rigidity in exchange for packability. Expect the occasional hot brass high five. It's a polite reminder that the mechanism is doing real work, not a defect. Controls are intentionally sparse. There is no slide to rack and no conventional external magazine release. So the user interface depends on legible, color-coded cues on operational levers. Red indicates muzzle direction, blue signals safe orientation, and green marks the fold-unfold control. Those cues reduce cognitive load and speed recognition under stress without adding complicated ergonomics. Basic color training beats fumbling for a tiny lever in low light. Ignition is hammer-fired, a pragmatic choice that improves rimfire primer ignition consistency across many commercial cartridges. Paired with the locked-breech cycle and transporter feed, the system emphasizes repeatable function with minimal hand exertion. That emphasis makes ammunition selection and routine cleaning more important than usual use recommended full-power loads, and keep the transporter path clear to maximize reliability. Taken together, the design presents a coherent set of trade-offs aimed at a single problem. Carry a defensive tool constantly, conceal it completely, and bring it into service with minimal physical strain. The sacrifices: limited magazine modularity, an unfamiliar grip feel, and a distinct deployment ritual are intentional and measurable. For shooters and armorers who value practical engineering, these choices are not gimmicks. They are defensible solutions worth testing at the range with the correct ammunition, drills, and attention to maintenance. Test thoroughly, learn the rhythm, and respect its intended role carefully. It's not trying to win a beauty contest. It's trying to hide in your pocket and behave while you get on with life. The first habit to build is always the same: clear the pistol before you touch anything. Keep your finger off the trigger, check the top load hatch, and look straight into the feed path to be certain nothing is hiding there. Starting this way every single time removes the guesswork and keeps you honest. Once that becomes automatic, you can move into the core routines. Begin with the feed system. Open the hatch, glance at the transporter teeth, and slide an empty follower through just to feel the path. This takes seconds, but tells you whether grit or residue has built up. From there, practice the fold and unfold motion until it feels natural. Do it slowly at first, then smoothly, then with a little speed. Pay attention to the grip lock each time. Owners who skip this step often discover, usually after a shot, that the grip wasn't seated firmly enough. Repetition is what burns out that mistake. Finally, give the pistol a basic function check. A snap cap is perfect here, so you can feel the trigger break and watch the transporter cycle without risking a live round. By the time you reach the range, these movements should feel routine rather than experimental. Maintenance blends naturally into this rhythm. The manufacturer's videos are worth watching because the camera angles show exactly how the parts index during disassembly. Follow their sequence, keep the toolkit simple: a 22 bore brush, nylon brush, swabs, and a small pick, and resist the temptation to pry with oversized punches. After every range session, wipe the transporter clean. Every 300 to 400 rounds, give the pistol a full strip and clean. Choose heavier. Full power 22 LR loads when possible. Soft lead or subsonic rounds foul the transporter faster and force extra cleaning. A little solvent, a brush, and a light film of oil are all that's needed. Over-lubrication only attracts grit. Occasionally, a case will stick. When it happens, don't fight the gun. Stop. Lock the action open if you can, and use the built-in clearing shelf to push the case free. That feature exists for a reason. Treat it as part of your routine, the same way you treat a function check or a fold drill. With steady practice, the pistol goes from novelty to reliable companion, a machine that rewards attention with smooth, predictable performance. The first round through this pistol is where skepticism meets engineering. At the bench, you watch a tidy choreography the transporter lifts. The bolt and barrel interact. A case ejects, and new round seats. That practical sequence matters more than any spec sheet. It proves whether the design's intent became a usable function. Begin live fire with the ammunition the manufacturer recommends, full power. Heavier 22 LR loads are the baseline for reliable cycling here. Lighter or subsonic rounds are likelier to cause hesitation and accelerated fouling. Start with a controlled block of 10 rounds to verify feed, eject, and basic cycling. Think of it as a systems check, not a performance audition. Nobody wins a prize for the first misfed round. Expect almost no perceptible recoil. The locked-breech recoil-operated action softens the impulse so follow-ups remain tight and the sight picture recovers quickly. The recoil is so polite it practically apologizes for being fired. Reliability on the line depends on two simple things: correct ammunition and disciplined maintenance. With recommended rounds and a clean transporter path, long strings are common. Hundreds of rounds without issue are achievable. Choose off-spec, low-velocity, or soft projectiles, and you trade that reliability for more cleaning and occasional feeding problems. When a stoppage occurs, assume technique. First recheck that the grip lock is fully seated. Confirm the hatch is properly closed. Clear the feed with practiced motion, and then continue. Many early faults are user-induced rather than proof of poor design. The sighting package is functional but conservative. Sights sit high on the fixed top section and offer a short sight radius with modest contrast. They reward fundamentals and make close work the pistol's sweet spot. Inside 10 yards, this pistol is exceptionally practical. Double taps and rapid strings remain tight and controllable. Around 15 yards, skilled shooters can expect usable groups. At 25 yards, a full-size silhouette is a realistic, deliberate target. Out at 50 yards, you can make purposeful, aimed shots, but the short sight radius and small sight picture make that an exercise in precision rather than speed. Trigger quality is serviceable, a crisp, identifiable break with moderate let-off rather than a hair trigger. That break, combined with minimal recoil, supports precise follow-ups. The principal limiter to accuracy is the sight geometry. Train fundamentals and the platform rewards you. A focused trigger press, consistent hold, and solid two-handed technique produce the best groups. Deployment speed is a trainable trade-off. Initial folded-to-fire attempts will be slow, often over 5 seconds, because the movement is unfamiliar. Structured practice compresses that time. Rehearse slow reps to ingrain the motion, smooth reps to refine flow, then timed reps to build speed. With repetition and stress inoculation, some operators can approach low 2-second single-shot deployment and follow-up. Prioritize repeatable times over headline speed. Consistency under pressure is the usable metric, not a lucky fast run. Include malfunction drills in your training. Simulate common user errors, an incompletely seated grip lock or a partially loaded transporter, and practice resolving those faults. Calmly index the deployment sequence, reseat the grip, and use the clearing shelf if a case hangs. Learn the clearing motion until it's instinctive. The shelf is a simple, intentional feature meant to speed recovery. Treat the range as ongoing validation. Cycle test blocks of unfamiliar ammo when you plan to carry a new load, and monitor how the transporter behaves after extended strings, when fed appropriate ammunition and kept clean. The pistol is a dependable, low-recoil defensive tool that surprises skeptics. Neglect maintenance or persist with unsuitable rounds, and frustration grows quickly. The difference between those outcomes comes down to what you do between sessions test, clean, and drill. Slide this pistol into a pocket and it disappears. Not in a cloak of invisibility way, but in a looks like you grabbed your kid's fidget toy way. That's the real charm. It doesn't scream gun. So it actually goes where bigger carry pieces can't. The folding trick isn't just clever engineering. It's daily practicality. Walking the dog. It rides flat, sitting in a car. No awkward holster digging into your side. It isn't designed for high-volume range sessions. It's designed to live quietly in your pocket until needed. Of course, there are trade-offs. Reloading is more feed the piggy bank than swap and go. The grip has a little flex, and the sights won't win any bullseye matches. But those quirks make sense when you see the bigger picture constant carry with minimal fuss. For someone who believes the best defensive tool is the one you actually have with you, this pistol delivers. So where does this strange folding block of polymer and steel land somewhere between a clever gadget and legitimate carry option? It's not the gun for every scenario, and it won't replace a full-size sidearm at the range. But as a backup or an always-there companion, it shines. Think of it as the multi-tool in your kit, maybe not the prettiest or the fastest, but always there when you need it. In the end, the ounce is part curiosity, part practicality, and fully memorable. You might laugh at its appearance, but after carrying it for a week, you'll start missing it if it isn't in your pocket. And that's the whole point. A defensive tool you actually carry beats a masterpiece left at home.